Hello guys, how are you now? You can probably hear it, but I have a new microphone. I'm still getting used to. Oh gosh. Oh dear. So I'm still getting used to trying to get the levels sorted correctly. I've been playing around with it over the new year. And I think I have it in a good spot, both the physical placement of the microphone and also the actual levels on my recording software. I think I have it all sorted. It definitely still needs some tweaking, but it is much better than it has been. I mean, it's much better anyway, just based on the fact that the volume no longer has to be up to 100% in order to hear me, which is exciting. Yeah, I've been wanting a microphone for a little while. I've just didn't have the money for one. And then I found this one on sale, which was really nice. We're gonna we're making sure. Okay. What do we need for the extractor again? Scrap. Need to go foraging today, but then we'll probably go into the mines, I think. Well, I don't know how I've managed to fail that one. Mangosteen. Kenny. Hello? Uh-huh. Pretty sure he talks to the wind. Oh, nice. And I think we've already done everything with the mantis. Yeah. So did everybody have a good New Year? I had a really good New Year. I spent New Year's Eve with my best friend and her son, who's 5. We had a lot of fun. He had a ton of fun. He's such a funny little ham bone. He learned how to cheers, and so that's all he wanted. All he wanted to do all night was cheers. It was sweet. And we played card games, and we had a lot of really good food, which was, great. And then every New Year's Day since I was 19, I've gone out with, well, it used to be my grandmother and my grandfather, but since my grandmother passed, it's just been my grandfather. So every New Year's Day, we go to the Legion. The past 2 years, I haven't had anything to drink other than water when I've been there because I've been letting my grandfather have his 1 or 2 drinks and then I'll drive us both home. But that's what I do New Year's Day. But it was a lot of fun. It's always a lot of fun. But yeah, so that was a ton of fun. It's always the only part of this time of year I actually really enjoy is New Year's. I try to think of other things that I did. I read a lot, and this year I decided, last year my goal was to beat my record for amount of books read in one year. And I did. I bet it by one book. So in 2021, I read 63 books. This year, I read 64, which is a lot. Um, However, this year I've decided that that was a little bit too much. It was a lot. Oh, I there was some books that took me longer than others. Like I had a few this year that I really really despise. Like they were books that were really highly recommended too to me, and I just ended up hating them a lot, and they kind of made me not want to continue reading. So this year I've decided, rather than try and go for volume, that this year I'm just going to go for quantity. So I have a really nice notebook from Olive and Archer that I've turned into a reading journal. It's an 8x8 square notebook, dot grid. It's a beautiful notebook. It has a big B on the front. But I decided, instead of reading a lot this year, I really want to take my time to fill out this reading journal. And I spent a good part of last November and December like creating the different spreads for it and like putting everything that I need in it, which is great. No, why did that happen? um but yeah, spent a lot of time like putting the spreads in it, making sure I had everything I wanted. But yeah, so this year, instead of trying to focus on volume, I'm going to try and keep up with this journal. And even if that means I've only read 10 books this year, then so be it. Like, last year was just too much and we need to slow it back down. And I'm really focusing this year. I have a lot of books. I didn't say a lot of books. I'd say about a third of the books on my bookshelves are ones that I have not read yet. And I'm trying to get that to 5% of the books on my shelf I haven't read yet. Like, I want to get some of them read because I know I'm not going to keep some of them. So I want to read them so I can kind of remove them from the shelf and make room for different things, because I have a lot of bookshelves and I have a lot of books. And I would technically maybe class that as a New Year's resolution. However, I decided this year, I've seen a lot of different people doing it, but they are like, they call it gamifying, like Jessie Corbin on YouTube. She is gamifying her life, and I'm doing something similar where I have different categories and I give XP. I think our systems are operating a little differently, but I also don't know that I would call it a New Year's resolution. I have always done weekly goals, or I have like almost like things I want to do this week, and if they don't do it, then there's always next week. It just takes the pressure off having to do it for a full year. Like, if I like do something for 1 week and it doesn't work, okay, then I don't have to do it again. You know? If I do something and either I hate it or it doesn't work, then we don't have to do it again. Oh dear. I went the wrong way. Forgot that this farm isn't cleared off yet. But yeah, if I try something for 1 week and I don't like it, then I don't have to do it again. Or if I like the idea and it's not working, then you can change it. But I think if I had to pick any New Year's resolution for myself this year, it would probably just be balance. To find more balance in things. I tend to either go all in or do nothing, and I want to find a nice middle ground in that for everything. And again, that I think that really means focusing more on trying to think of a good way to word this. Yeah, but focusing more on like slowing down, reflecting. If something isn't working for me, then it's not working and we should slow down and change it. Or like I I like cooking, but I often find I struggle to cook for myself when I'm home because I live by myself. So I find cooking for myself very difficult, but I've noticed that when I like eat this like not so much meal planning, I guess it is meal planning, but like literally eating the same thing every day, it's boring. And then every once in a while I'll cook something new. It makes it a lot easier for me to cook stuff at home. I don't even know where I'm going with this. Yeah. Trying to like yeah. I guess it's not a resolution, more so than a theme, I guess, for this year, but yeah, trying to find balance in the different things that I do. Like, I set myself challenges sometimes, and then I get really mad at myself if I can't do it, but it's also usually because my expectations of what I'm, I get upset because I'm like, oh, you didn't do this challenge that involved using up all of your free time for the next 2 months. And then I get mad that it didn't work. And so instead of doing stuff like that, this year I'm really focused on, okay, if you want to set your challenge, you can. But if 2 weeks in it's burning you out more than it's having any sort of benefits, like say I want to complete some big writing projects, so I say, okay, like we're going to do this challenge, we're going to try and get this amount of, but that ends up being too much, like, okay, well, after a week, let's look and revisit, like, was that too much work? Was it not enough work and you were getting too distracted to do something? But so I find I'm bad for that. So this week I'm really focused on my to-do list. And when I say focusing on my to-do list, I mean I often will make them and then ignore them. So what I'm focusing on exactly when it comes to my to-do list is I'm focusing on A, filling it out every night before I go to bed and creating one for the next day. I'm focusing on not adding too much onto my plate. So if I'm setting a to-do list, say, for tomorrow, and I'm like, oh, well, I need to sweep and mop my floors, I need to dust, I need to clean my kitchen, do this. Really, like, knowing at what point am I going to be frustrated with what's happening, and what I'm doing. So, like, I know I need to be able to sit on my couch and couch rot for a while. As a person, I know I need that, or I get really, really stressed out at work and I get frustrated when I'm talking to the people I care about. So, okay. So, if realistically, based on the amount of time I have when I get home from work, what of those things that I've selected are reasonable for me to do? Okay, so having a hard time figuring that out. So I know I hate cleaning my kitchen, and I also know that it takes the longest amount of time, but it is something that needs to be done. That's probably going to be prioritized, but because I hate doing it, and I have such a hard time completing those tasks, it's probably going to be the only, like, I would call it a hygiene task, like a house hygiene task that I do, because I know that I'm either not going to do it or I'm going to be frustrated the whole evening if I put too much on my plate. So then the rest of my to-do list that day might be things that I want to do, habits that I want to get done. Like, I am really trying to make sure that I'm reading every day, even if it's just one paragraph or one sentence. Like, I just need to read, so we're going to put that on there. I've been, since about November, I've been really prioritizing skincare. So, okay, I'm going to put washing my face on there. And that's not something that I would put on my to-do list every day. It's only on days where I've like, oh, so my only like major task is going to be clean the kitchen, but I know I want to, like, I need that feel good hit I get from checking something off. So then I'll put easy things as well to check off, like 3 liters of water. I drink 5 liters of water every day. Like, putting 3 liters on there is a bit redundant, but it makes me feel better to be able to check something off when I give myself an easy win. Well, but yeah, really focusing on that. And like I said, I do it weekly, so it's not a big... So, like, I'm saying this now because it's the season. These aren't really New Year's resolutions. It's been something I've been working on for the past about 6 weeks. But now it's the season where you can talk about it, you know? I'm trying to think of if there's anything else that I've been... I think it's just been gamification and my reading journal. Two of the things. I do give myself points. I'm trying to think of more of my gamification. Jessie does a much better job of explaining her system than I will ever do of mine. But I think, like, the general consensus of it, and there's apps that'll do this for you, but like almost giving XP to different life tasks. So I've sorted mine into a bunch of different categories, like, and they don't align with D&D necessarily. So, like, for example, one of mine is like background, but that is just for almost like house care tasks and like cleaning and stuff like that. So, cleaning my house career stuff falls under background. So if I'm working on any of my YouTube stuff, and I've assigned certain things, certain points. So playing this game now isn't actually going to count for background. It will count for intelligence, which is what I've put a lot of my, like, personal projects under. So I want to... Like, I have some, like, different, like, creative writing things, or my, like, bullet journaling, book journaling, that would all go under my intelligence category background. So, like, any editing or posting I do are allotted a certain amount of points. Some things have more weight to it than others, so I think editing and posting both each only have, like, 2 XP. Whereas, like, if I go out and choose to, like, I don't know, like, watch a video on editing tips or different, like, new techniques, like, learning something new are weighted higher. So I think, like, watching one video on, like, better editing practices would, I think I set it at 12 points. 10 or 12 points, because there are things that I want to do, I'm just simply not doing them. So to give more incentive to do them, I've weighted them more. Like, trying to think of other things. I've been working on a book for the past 2 years, so those, like, actually writing the book has some incentive, and while this probably won't happen, I've also given a higher point incentive for the completion of certain projects. Like, this book might be worth 40 points. I'm crocheting a blanket for somebody. When that's finished, that'll be worth 20 points. Yeah, so just, like, weighting we're weighing different things with a reasonable amount of XP based on how important they are and how much work has gone into them. Like video games, like I said, I think are only worth 1 point. Drinking water, because I do that every day anyway, is only worth like 1 point. It's very hard to explain without seeing the process. Maybe I'll link one of the videos I've watched into the description just so people can kind of see what I'm talking about and that I'm not fully crazy. I need to find Suki, so... Oh. Okay, she's at the inn. Do we have any more hard events with anybody? No, because nobody likes us yet. Oh, nice. Just gonna get some coconuts. Feel like this video was just a lot of me yapping. Yep. And we got some friendship with Suki. Enough for a hard event? No. Maybe. No. Maybe. Who's to say, really? I've thought about posting pictures of my reading journal, but then I'm like, it's kind of not video game related. Although I do have like a separate notebook here. It's like a duotang that has different video game stuff in it. Like it has my notes for what I need for crafting. Like I have a few quests on Disney Dreamlight Valley that I could never remember, like ingredients to different things, so that's in there. My not so berry personal challenge is in there. A list of my kids and what age or like what number they are in the challenge for the 100 babies in there. But that one is just for me. Oh, shoot. Okay. I just need to get in there, thank you. Okay, so, like I said, this episode was mostly me just yapping about absolutely nothing important at all. So, it might be a good place to leave it off. We really didn't do much. Just a little laid back, you know. Cleaning up the farm, you know, doing our thing. Sold some potatoes. Which is good, I guess. Yeah. Good place to leave it off. I hope you guys like the new mic. I'm liking it. I'm still, like I said, still working on it. We're gonna have a few episodes of probably wonky audio before I figure out something that I think works. Anyway, we will see you next week. Bye.